So the new album, Tiny Cities, is an album of, I guess, covers or reinterpretations of Modest Mouse songs. What attracted you to doing that project, to taking those songs on?
It's just, I don't know. I think, it's just kind of like this strange, accident, really.
Yeah.
Just kind of happened. I think probably, 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I really didn't know much about the band at all, and just sort of by chance, I saw them with the Shins maybe 3 years ago at the Fillmore, and it was just one of those things, I saw the band and I was just blown away, and just within a week, I think I probably had all their records, and I think at some point after that, when Sun Kill Moon was out, we did a couple of tours. We added Never Ending Math Equation and Dramamine we were doing at the shows, and then the audiences were really liking our versions of those songs, and I think just like the AC/DC cover record that I did, I think it was just kind of the same thing. I just, started off where I was just going to record just an EP of their music, and, I just ended up
got further
sort of, I just kind of immersed myself into that little world for a couple of months, and, next thing you knew, I had the record finished, so I don't really know how to explain it beyond that. It was just kind of this strange little detour I took, and it's just something that happened.
That's cool. So it's not necessarily like a lyrical attraction or a...
Sure. I think he's a great, I think he's just a great lyricist. I think, lyricists like that, don't, maybe, every 20, Morrissey or Bob Dylan. These guys don't come around that much. And I think he's up there. I think that the lyrics are just incredible. And again, I just felt compelled to do it. So yeah.
Cool. One thing I like about your work, and when you mentioned the AC/DC Bon Scott record, and you've done other covers of things throughout the Red House Painters era. Man, they're pretty radically different.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are there, but a lot of times it's almost a different melody and a different tempo. And how does that come about for you? I mean, because for some folks, I would imagine it would be really hard to get out of the
box.
Out of just the straightforward version of the song.
Yeah, I can't. Again, it's hard to explain, but I think that's just the way it filters through me. I think sometimes I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like it could be anything. It could be like you said, I've done it a lot with. I've covered Paul McCartney, and I think it's just something where I hear lyrics and I feel some chemistry with them, and regardless of what's happening with the music or the melody, I feel some kind of chemistry with certain lyrics, and when they come out of me, they just come out in that way, and that's just how I do it,
Yeah. Do you ever hear from folks like from the Modest Mouse camp or from I don't know the AC/DC folks? That seems a little more far-fetched.
AC/DC. I haven't heard anything from Modest Mouse, but I did get. I was in a documentary that was shot maybe 5 years ago, right after I did the AC/DC cover record. I was in England and shot a documentary, and they were part of the documentary, and I know that they really like it, and Brian Johnson really likes the record. Rick Ocasek is somebody that I've gotten some positive, feedback from, and on the other side of it, Neil Diamond hated my version of.
He did.
I heard from his camp really quickly about that, but so I mean, but for the most part, I've gotten some pretty positive feedback from the people that I've covered,
Have you heard any cover versions or radical reinterpretations of your work?
Actually, the one that you just had mentioned you played, that is one that I have heard, and I heard that a couple of years ago, but he just recently put a record out, but that's a pretty, his name's Jaron, but he did, or Frequent Flyer, okay,
right.
He used to go under the name Jaron, now it's Frequent Flyer, but He did a pretty good version of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked, the first half was pretty straightforward, and then it kind of breaks
Yeah.
down into a more
Mhm.
instrumental
Mhm.
interpretation.
Mhm.